Inori, a girl with jet black hair, reaches out her fingers, gently grazing his cheek. He freezes, staring at her mind, racing. He has no idea who she is, or why she knows his name. Shuck, without warning, she drives a silver dagger straight into his heart. Crimson blood sprays across his shirt. Tears stream down her face as she lets go of the hilt, her form beginning to dissolve into mist, fading away along with the entire world around them. As darkness closes, in his final thought before the void takes him, is a desperate silent, "Why?" gasp. The protagonist jolts awake, clutching a manga volume like a lifeline. He's slumped at a desk in the back of a classroom, having dozed off in the middle of a school recess. This is Takafuji Inori, just your average 17-year-old attending a Japanese high school. Realizing it was just a nightmare, he exhales, watching his classmates goof around. But suddenly, an eerie phosphorescent glow erupts from the floorboards. A massive, intricate magic seal ignites beneath their feet, trapping every single student inside the circle. The brightness cranks up to 11, blinding everyone in the room. Inori tries to scramble to his feet, but whoosh, a mysterious force yanks him out of reality. He blinks, open his eyes, floating in a boundless white void. Overhead, a golden light pierces through the mist like a celestial sun breaking through clouds. Panic mode activated. His classmates are freaking out, screaming, "Where are we, and what is happening?" Suddenly, a blonde figure in a flowing gown descends from the light like an angel, telling everyone to chill out. She explains that they've stepped onto the path of the soul and entered a dimension called the interworld. She introduces herself as a goddess and drops the bombshell they are being summoned to another world, become legendary heroes, and slay the Demon King. The students aren't buying it, convinced this is some elaborate, twisted prank. The goddess ignores the skepticism. She tells them their souls are being warped to the magical world of Belze, specifically the Kingdom of Hagen. One student raises a hand, asking what exactly being called entails. Inori's internal monologue kicks in. This is literally the plot of every isekai manga ever written. The goddess smiles, promising a parting gift. Glowing spectral hands materialize over each student, injecting them with a surge of raw magic. Everyone unlocks a unique cheat skill, and her final advice is simple: don't let this power go to your head. Be the good guys. Zap. The scene shifts to a grand castle in the Kingdom of Hagen. Inori's entire class materializes on the throne room floor, now officially a hero party. The nobles erupt in cheers, praising the high priestess for nailing the summoning ritual. But the king on the throne roars for silence, shutting down the hype immediately. The monarch, draped in gold and velvet, rises and addresses the confused teenagers. He introduces himself as Risen Hagen, leader of this realm, and then shockingly drops to his knees, begging them to save his people. Inori raises an eyebrow at this dramatic display. A classmate steps forward, telling the king to stand up, then asks the million-dollar question, "Can we go back home?" Saint Isaiah the summoner nods. "Yes, you will have the chance. Exactly 1 month from now, on the next full moon, the portal back to your reality opens. If you don't want to fight, you can just chill in the castle until then." Inori smirks to himself, thinking this sounds less like a hero summoning and more like a magical field trip. The classmates ask the saint about the time difference. Isaiah reassures them, "When you return, it will be the exact moment you left." Takafuji narrows his eyes. It sounds way too perfect. Isaiah then asks the group if anyone wants to opt out and sit on the bench until the full moon. She plays the sympathy card, saying, no one will judge them, but they really need saving. Inori rolls his eyes. Classic emotional manipulation tactic. The students break into huddles, whispering furiously. Inori just hopes his classmates have enough brain cells not to fall for the king and saint's sob story immediately. A guy with glasses steps up. "Give us the month to decide." Smart move, Takafuji thinks. I would have done the same. The king agrees to the probation period and accepts their terms. Then he pivots to party mode. Tonight, we feast. He invites them to a royal banquet. Inori's mood instantly lifts. Time to see what otherworldly grub tastes like. But just as he's fantasizing about the food, the floor beneath him lights up again. It's that same yellow seal from the classroom, and he assumes it's just a warp to the dining hall. That is, until a classmate screams his name in terror. He screams, asking why the glowing circle is only targeting him. Inori realizes with horror he's the solitary cargo on this trip. The seal hits 100% power. Bam. Our protagonist gets yeeted right back to the empty white void where the goddess first summoned him. She starts her script, welcoming the new wanderer to the path of the soul. The goddess goes into full intro mode. Then she freezes, sensing the glitch in the matrix. Inori casually waves to the deity he literally just spoke 2 minutes ago. Recognition flashes in her eyes, followed by pure shock. She asks why he's respawned here already. The all-powerful girl is totally shook. Her brain is trying to buffer the situation. Inori figures she accidentally double-clicked the summon button, but the goddess looks unsure. Whatever rules are rules, and he's due for another perk. The goddess wishes him luck, probably hoping this time it sticks. A yellow seal erupts beneath the boy, warping him to a new dimension. This time he spawns inside a high-tech lab. We're talking massive antennas on the roof. Inori wakes up strapped to a chair, chains, thick cables, and a gag keeping him quiet. A dude looking like a textbook mad scientist is hyped that his signal worked. His young assistant is grinning like they just won the lottery. They label Inori experiment number 12. These psychos are betting everything that he's the chosen one with the magic eye. Our hero eyes the jubilant creeps trying to keep a low profile. Inori gloomily thinks, bro, this difficulty setting is way too hard. And it's only round 2. The mad scientist barks at him not to blink, he's ready to carve that eye right out. The doctor is practically vibrating with excitement. He's finally got a genuine magic eye under his scalpel. This power manifests in people who cross dimensional borders. And sure enough, Inori's eye flares a blood-curdling red. The pupil morphs into an intricate geometric pattern. The doctor explains their job is to snatch up summoned heroes and harvest their OP abilities. Takafuji realizes his gift, from the goddess this time, is this very eye. The doctor starts weaving a hypnotic magic seal. He's trying to sedate him before the surgery. Inori stares at the glowing circle, waiting for the fade-out, but nothing happens. The doctor is confused, muttering that his spell is having zero effect. Our protagonist just listens to him rant about his top-tier hypnosis failing. Suddenly, the assistant screams out, pointing a trembling finger at Inori's other eye. The scientist gasps. The kid's right eye is all-seeing, and his left eye is formation. The crazy doctors are losing their minds over this rare heterochromia jackpot. They decide to scrap the hypnosis plan completely. They're going to proceed with the experiment raw, no anesthesia. Inori realizes these maniacs are about to turn this into a torture session. They want to scoop his eyes out. The boy struggles against his restraints, refusing to let his story end as a lab rat. Just in time, a third summoning circle blazes beneath him, green this time. The scientists freeze, staring at their test subject in disbelief. A thrilled Inori gets warped to yet another reality. A split second later, he's staring at the goddess with a deadpan expression. The girl is flabbergasted, looking at her guest like a recurring bug she can't patch. She mumbles, "That's 3 times now." She jokes that he must be obsessed with her. Inori asks why the universe keeps bouncing him back. The goddess admits this is a first for her. She's never seen a glitch like this, but promises to troubleshoot. The next moment, a green summoning circle lights up the floor. It whisks the boy away to world number 4. He materializes in a swanky room inside a massive mansion. A young aristocratic girl and her elf maid are staring him down. The maid hypes up her mistress for summoning an anthropomorphic monster on the very first roll. The young man clarifies he's not a monster, which makes the girls even happier. He's a rare talking unit. They mistook him for a demon and are seconds away from forcing him to sign a slave contract. But then boom, red summoning circle. Inori gets yanked back into the void. He greets the goddess with a weary smile, but she's already sick of his constant respawning. He asks for the intel, and the goddess breaks it down. The summoning circle targets people with powerful souls capable of piercing dimension walls. But Inori's soul is too dense. It's so OP that every circle across the multiverse is pinging him. The young man finds that weird, since he's not exactly a saint, let alone hero material. The goddess clarifies it's not about morality, it's about the raw horsepower of his inner self. If he can lock in a hero contract in another world, he'll stop glitching back here. She sends him off to a royal castle. There, a princess is analyzing his stats. Inori realizes he's now stacked with 4 divine gifts. He demands they sign a hero contract immediately to anchor him. But too late, a black summoning circle opens up beneath his feet, and the guy is dragged into another reality. This time he's summoned via black magic by an exhausted girl begging for backup. Hearing nothing about a contract, Inori just lies on the floor, waiting for the inevitable next summon. An orange circle hits, warping him to a gloomy mountain citadel. A massive demon army is cheering, welcoming the chill Inori. They think he's the resurrected demon king, but before he can even settle in, he's back in the divine void. The goddess sighs. He realizes his inventory is stacked with her gifts. The guy just nods, letting that dark energy surge through his veins like a caffeine hit. Suddenly the goddess drops the mic. The next summon is the grand finale, a parting gift. She syncs his build and tells him to check the system HUD once it loads. Boom. Inori spawns right behind. 3 Japanese high schoolers getting the royal welcome from the local king. First up on the roster is 17-year-old Shinzaki Ryuto. Next is 17-year-old Karasawa Tamaki. And rounding out the trio is 16-year-old Isogai Aoi. They're squad goals from the same school, dapping each other up, while Inori quietly vibes in the background like an NPC. The king is glitching out. The script said, 3 heroes. Takafuji's internal monologue goes dark. There are 4 of them, and the main 3 are clearly a clique. The protagonist realizes he just crashed someone else's multiplayer lobby. Inori and the hero squad stare at the king, waiting for answers. The monarch is shook, asking how this bug in the system happened. How does a random stranger spawn alongside the VIP summons? But hey, if he was dragged into the server, guess they're stuck with him. To the king's left, a girl steps into the spotlight and addresses the party. The first princess claims the summoning credit. Inori sighs internally, another manga cliché. The classic high and mighty tsundere princess. She demands they smash that like button and thank her for the trip to the kingdom of the rising Sunday. Lore drop, this world is a remix of humans, demi-humans, and demons. But the demons, led by their king, started their own faction and are now aggressively pushing the borders. Because of this, Mikado Empire ordered every kingdom to draft heroes. The catch, only girls with royal blood have the mana to cast the spell. Every country is grinding XP for their heroes to fight demons. The princess thinks this strategy is genius. Inori is pretty sure. Spamming low-tier units, instead of focusing on quality, won't stop a boss fight. The princess orders the Rising Sun squad to grind hard and delete the Demon King. Shinzaki Ryuto raises a hand for a question. The princess predicts. He wants to know about the logout button. She shuts it down. There is no way back. This entitled girl says, they should be grateful for the isekai ticket. Inori thinks this princess needs a crash course from the Higan Kingdom on how to actually treat guests. The king tells the heroes to tap the tablet to unlock their perks. The priest brings out a magic iPad. Takafuji watches lazily from the sidelines. Shinzaki Ryuto unlocks the limit break buff. Isogai Aoi scores barrier creation. Karasawa Tamaki gets magic affinity, and Takafuji Inori pulls detection. The protagonist notes his skill is total trash compared to the others. Then the tutorial combat test begins. Ryuto goes full Superman mode, Aoi drops unbreakable shields, and Tamaki starts blasting destruction, fire magic like a pyromaniac. But Inori's showcase totally underwhelming. He's confused why his stats are suddenly nerfed and his body feels heavy. The guy rage quits the test to save himself from more cringe. That evening, the whole squad links up in Ryuto's room for a debrief. Tamaki asks why the devs even summoned a weakling like Inori. She claims she wasn't worried, just curious. Inori smirks, he's detected tsundere number 2. Ryuto plays peacemaker, saying, detection is actually a clutch support skill. Shinzaki asks Aoi to run defense for Inori with her barriers. The protagonist realizes these three are the popular kids, good-looking and winning at life. Tamaki drops the big question, do they stay or bail? Ryuto is already calculating an escape route. Suddenly, Inori yells, wow, this place is amazing, 5 stars. He flashes a notebook at them, we are being wiretapped. Zip it. His useless detection skill, just ping the radar signature. He can sense living targets. Within a short range, there's a maid camping right outside the door. She faked leaving but is totally eavesdropping. Inori scribbles a request to Aoi, need a soundproof barrier. Now. She nods, activating her hacks. A green dome shimmers into existence. We're muted, she whispers. Aoi warns it won't last long. So they need to speedrun this convo. Ryuto hypes his friend up for the clutch move. Inori thinks gloomily. Read the room, guys. No time for flirting. Tamaki is salty. Why are they spying on the heroes? Ryuto reminds them that their power levels break the game balance, making them a threat to the country's security. Tamaki is offended since they were the ones invited. Inori cuts in with real tea. This country is broke. Major financial crisis energy. The king is understaffed, and palace security is basically non-existent. Tamaki brings up the lavish welcome banquet. Inori shakes his head. Cheap food masked with heavy spices. Even this room looks like a barracks. We're in a failing state. Back in the VIP guest quarters, our guy drifts into a flashback. This vibe is totally different from that chaotic first summoning in Hagen. Takafuji whispers a plan. Let's bail. He thinks his raw strength is enough to ghost the guards and glitch their way back to Earth. He is convinced the princess is gaslighting them about being stuck here, just to keep them as weapons. Ryuto nods, playing the realist. They are way too underleveled and clueless to pull off a prison break right now. Suddenly, Tamaki invades Inori's personal space. Zoom in on the left eye, it's glowing pure yellow. Panic mode, he forgot to toggle his disguise. Ryuto jumps in with the assist, telling Tamaki to stop being so nosy. It's just a phase, Ryuto claims, passing off the cursed eye as some cringy 8th grade syndrome cosplay. Inori dies a little inside, but commits to the bit, striking a pose and monologuing about the sealed dark power in his eye. Crisis averted. Back in his room, he swipes open the system menu to check his build. Whoa, the stats are cracked. Everything hits near 1000, and intelligence is a massive 2500. If he's this OP, why did he tank the entry exams? Time to audit the skill tree. Detection is there, but so is skill steal. That sounds absolutely broken. Then there's black magic and the magic eyes, all seeing on the right, formation on the left. Dark flashbacks hit him the 3rd summoning. That was the timeline where they branded him a monster. He stopped being human that day, officially tagged as a demon vampire. Mystery solved. He spots the massive debuff hatred of the sun god. In daylight, his stats get nerfed to 10%. Ouch. No wonder the sun felt like a laser beam today. And dinner, straight garbage, because of the garlic seasoning. It wasn't just that Aoi and Tamaki looked cute. He was smelling the premium hero-grade blood pumping through their veins. He was so fixated on his radar-pinging living targets that he totally ghosted his other abilities. He can still mask the mismatched eyes and the vamp vibes, but he needs to grind through these skill descriptions stat. Detection works like a radar for heartbeats. He grabs a brass candlestick to test the next toy. Activates weapon creation. The metal warps and twists, morphing into a wicked razor-sharp dagger. The right eye is basically an aimbot, motion tracking, instant analysis, and crazy zoom features. Throw in clairvoyance, photographic memory, night vision, and illusion immunity. He is walking surveillance tech. The left eye. It's a copy-paste tool for magic circles. He can scan spells and cast them instantly later. Skipping the complex stuff, he spots 2 passive buffs, leveling speed x5 and true dark magic. Then the bloodsucker mechanic. Virgins become loyal vampire spawn. Everyone else turns into mindless ghouls. Splash a ghoul with his blood, it becomes a loyal subject after death. Drink a victim's blood, he downloads their memories. That means he can farm skills just by feeding on high-level enemies. The sunlight nerf sucks, but this build has potential. Morning hits. The squad assembles at the training grounds for boot camp. Enter Egiana, Knight Commander of Egiwana. She looks tough as nails and ready to break them. Inori blinks. A female commander in a medieval setting. That is definitely breaking the historical script. Egiana tells the girls to drop the wands and hit the gym. Magic requires stamina. Normally, they would start with heavy lifting. But she eyes Inori. She knows he's holding back. Meanwhile, Ryuto scans as a physical beast with stats over 1,000. Tamaki is squishy but has galaxy brain intelligence. Aoi is a tanky mage, smart and durable. The trio gets basic coordination drills. Inori. He gets the remedial course. Objective reach average soldier status. Cut to Inori, suffering through push-ups while the sun cooks him alive. The blonde commander watches like a hawk. His head is pounding, he is drowsy, the vampire debuff is real. Egiana promises to personally supervise his gains. Saved by the bell, the royal entourage rolls up. Inori gasping for air spots, yesterday's tsundere princess. Takafuji clocks a stunner in the back. That girl is dripping in too much luxury to be a simple NPC maid. Egiana salutes. The second princess steps forward, claiming they just came to spectate the hero training. The first princess is still fishing for compliments, but the second princess, she walks straight past the others to the wheezing Inori. She flashes a smile that doesn't reach her eyes, total porcelain doll vibes. You're mine for the rest of the day, she announces. Smash, cut to a private classroom. It's lore dump time, courtesy of the second princess. Inori realizes he's been segregated. The cool kids are in the big hall with the first princess. Turns out the tsundere refused to waste her breath teaching a non-hero scrub. Inori mentally adds her to his revenge list. The second princess taps the board, class is in session. Takafuji throws up a hand, signaling a pause. She flashes a sugar-coated smile, ready for the interrogation. The guy drops the question. You the first princess's baby sister, wrong. She drops a bomb, she's actually a year older. But thanks to some weird royal politics, the youngest sibling bags the crown. Inori nods, satisfied with the intel, and the history class officially starts. First up, the second princess drops the kingdom's lore. This place was built by a witch from the hero squad who absolutely wrecked the previous demon king. Because she carried the team, this land is a total matriarchy. The queens wear the pants, and women snag all the top-tier ranks. The king, just a glorified manager, zero real authority. If the queen serves him divorce papers, he's back to square one with nothing. The princess drones on. But Inori's already out cold, KO'd by the boredom. Fast forward to sunset, and he's back in his quarters. Our boy is grinding XP, studying a magic grimoire borrowed from the princess. She was surprisingly chill, didn't even roast him for napping in class. He spots a spell seal and flips the switch on his formation eye. He tries to buffer the circle in his vision, but it glitches, no activation. Inori keeps skimming the book. Total failure after multiple runs. Switch tactics. Inori fires up the all-seeing eye, grabbing a pen and paper. Takafuji attempts to sketch a circle from his memory banks, specifically the one from the dimension where he got these OP eyes. Flashback to that psycho doctor trying to brainwash him with a hypnosis seal. The scientist branded it first-class hypnosis. It tanked back then, but his right eye's photographic memory stored every single pixel of that rune. Same origin world for the eye and the circle. It's worth a shot. Staring at the seal, Inori feels the formation eye powering up. Time for a beta test. He summons his maid Nala. Relax, he says, unleashing the left eye. A glowing yellow circle manifests. Right over his pupil. A massive copy reflects in Nala's vision. The code rewrites her consciousness, locking in the hypnosis. Nala's expression goes completely blank. System status idle. Inori tests the admin privileges. What color is your underwear? Instant reply, black. He runs a fact check with the all-seeing eye. Confirmed, black. Inori's hyped first-class hypnosis is online, but then a realization hits. His left eye is region-locked. It can't save circles from this world. That means, for now, he's stuck with mind control. He decides to sketch the second import, that yellow summoning circle, used for dimension hopping. Inori saves the file to his left eye and unlocks the teleportation perk via magic circles. He spawns a destination point in the forest outside the capital. Inori warps instantly. The loadout: left eye for teleport hypnosis, right eye for editing the code. By drawing. Now the kid has a permanent escape route. Once night falls, he's at full stamina and ready for a skill check. First up, true dark magic. This dark energy lets him telekinesis rocks and branches, levitating them like a Jedi. The catch: it only works on non-living matter. He can move the loot and stash it in his shadow inventory. Also, possessed items can't interact with neutral ones. Cut the dark energy feed and physics returns to normal. It's handy, but has massive drawbacks. Next experiment, shadow dive. Dark magic lets him merge with his own shadow. Time to chain some combos. He casts weapon creation on a levitating rock, transmuting it into a massive greatsword. Inori accesses his memory of today's training, downloading Agiana's moveset. Gripping the blade, he mimics the Knight Commander's strikes. Inori grinds sword proficiency for a while, exhausted but feeling that level up glow. The system pinged, sword technique level 1 acquired. Inori grins. This is the farming exploit he needed. He considers power leveling right now, but hears a rustle behind a tree. Mob detected. It's a bird-type demon called Katsu, boasting high physical stats. Inori eyes it up, valuable loot drop considering his fancy bed is stuffed with these feathers. Takafuji pauses, debating if he should farm the trash mobs first, slipping into shadow form. He runs a stealth scan on the forest. Bad news, every mob here is elite, some even outscale him. Inori realizes he's either undergeared or this is a high-level zone. A 1 versus 1 duel is winnable, but if he pulls aggro on a group, it's game over. Meanwhile, the sharp click of heels echoes through the castle halls. Agiana picks up the audio cue and steps into the corridor. Busted. She spots the second princess and immediately grills her for wandering around without a security detail. The princess corners the Knight Commander for a tense little chat. She demands to know why Agiana is keeping the magical gear locked away during hero training. The commander doesn't blink, insisting they're grinding base stats, mastering the body, not the loot. The princess is confused. Why not equip the overpowered items immediately? Agiana breaks it down. A true hero is the weapon. You have to build your own strength before relying on magical crutches. According to the commander, you max out your physical stats first, then you get the gear. The princess flashes a practiced smile, noting that if the kingdom's MVP is running the show, they're in safe hands. But Agiana catches a glitch in the matrix. She hasn't seen the princess's genuine smile in ages. The girl looks away, claiming her vibe hasn't changed a bit. Agiana pivots, asking for her take on her sister, the future queen. The princess recites the script. She has raw talent, and the public adores her. Agiana presses, real talk though. You believe that? The princess drops the act, warning the chief that the walls have ears. That kind of talk could be seen as disrespecting the crown. Agiana agrees, but shrugs it off like it's nothing. Cut to a few days later, the hero grind continues. Ryuto is absolutely crushing it in close quarters combat. He's so gifted, he's focusing purely on sword arts now. Tamaki got a high-tier magic staff to buff her spells, but she's literally swinging it like a baseball bat. Meanwhile, Ioi is locked in on archery. She's popping barriers to tank hits while firing off shots. Inori analyzes the squad comp. It's finally balanced. Ryuto is the melee DPS king. Tamaki is the ranged nuker with a temper, and Aoi is holding down defense and support fire. Inori is speccing into the assassin build, daggers, throwing knives, stealth, and disarming traps. They want him as the party's scout, to sync with his detection skills. But when the sun goes down, he's solo leveling in the demon forest. No mentors required here. He's using dark magic to telekinetically steer his blades, releasing control the split second they impact. Inori is grinding to purge his hatred for the sun god by maxing his levels. For now, it's time to farm some mobs. Deep in the woods, he spots a bird-type demon just vibing in a clearing. The monster has zero situational awareness. Big mistake. Inori bursts from the shadows, closing the gap instantly. The demon clocks the vampire, but it's already game over. The protagonist unleashes a brand new skill on the beast. Using weapon crafting logic, he spins threads from pure dark magic. The black strings bind the target tight. The bird demon screeches and thrashes, but it's completely restrained. Inori activates the left eye of formations. He drops a hypnosis seal, using the demon as a test subject. The monster submits instantly. Takafuji executes the paralyzed enemy with his dagger, then immediately uses necromancy to raise the corpse. He stashes the zombie demon inside his shadow, plenty of inventory space in there. With the area clear of threats, Inori bares his fangs. It's feeding time. He drains the demon's blood, chasing that level up notification. Meal complete. He slips out of the shadows for round 2. He tracks down a dino-looking demon next. It's hideous, but XP is XP. Inori stays on the hunt until sunrise, devouring every monster he crosses. He hits the teleport circle, warps back to his room, and crashes. A few minutes later, Nara is shaking him awake. She has zero memory of the hypnosis, still thinks he's weak trash. But over the last 2 weeks, he's unknowingly mined her for massive lore drops. The tea is scorching the current queen couldn't conceive, which is a disaster in a matriarchy. Plus lately, royal family members were dropping like flies. Desperate, the king took a count's daughter as a concubine, resulting in Arya now known as the second princess. The people were ready to stand her as the next ruler, but then a miracle happened. The ruling couple finally had a daughter together. The queen obsessed over her biological child, naming her Amanda. The girl inherited the magic gene and bathed in her mother's love, instantly becoming the prime heir. Arya, irrelevant. All her grinding was for nothing. When Amanda turned 7, she was officially crowned first princess. The court simped hard for the cute girl, who was destined for the throne. Everyone ghosted Arya, who faded into her sister's shadow. Forgotten and alone, she copes by wearing that fake doll-like smile. In class, Inori realizes the truth, they're the same. No expectations for either of them. Arya snaps him out of it, telling him to stay awake and focus. Inori hits her with a dramatic yawn while she preaches about the power of knowledge. The princess reminds him that since he's not a mage, he's training to be a spy. Takafuji internally sighs right because this world's magic system is literally broken for him. Even random NPCs like Nala are popping off basic spells. Arya drops a truth bomb. Idiana is swamped, yet she clears her schedule for him. But Inori rolls his eyes. He thinks it's just because of his fancy hero title. Arya shuts that down. You want real power? Then stop slacking. She commands him to follow her lead. They descend into the castle's guts, walking down these creepy, pitch-black stairs. Suddenly, the couple faces a massive, intimidating door. The princess flexes a little magic, cracking the heavy seal open, and declares class is in session. She gets real with him. Everyone calls you a weakling, a hero with zero juice. She knows that stings. Inori watches her shift gears. The trauma of her past left some deep, ugly scars, locking her emotions away until she was living like a hollow mannequin. But looking at her now, she's evolved. She's radiating main character energy. They step into the center of a massive arena. Arya warns him, "You're on the verge of getting kicked out." Takafuji's confused, so she spells it out. The queen has the power to delete a useless hero from the roster. Inori claps back, asking why his detection skills get zero respect. Arya admits the system is rigged, but calls him out for being lazy. Blessings are for the chosen, sure, but you're not even trying. Inori cringes, remembering all those lectures he slept through recently. But she doesn't see the night shift. He grinds while the castle sleeps. He tells her, "I'm maxing out my effort. But compared to the big three, I'm talentless." Arya's expression darkens. "This barrier," she says, "locks this room off from reality. Train as hard as you want." Inori turns to ask how to open the door, and she straight up Sparta kicks him in the back. Bam, head meets wall. He spins around, totally bewildered by the sudden violence. Her voice drops to a whisper. "You're clueless about the outside. If they toss you out of this castle, the first demon you see will turn you into confetti. Even if he's the bottom-tier hero, giving up isn't an option." It clicks for Inori. She actually gives a damn. She screams at him to evolve to prove everyone wrong through pure sweat. The protagonist just bursts out laughing. He looks at her stunned face and smiles. "You're a really good girl, Arya." He didn't expect that fire. She turns beet red, begging him to quit teasing. The guy gets serious. "I love being alive. Dying isn't on my schedule." In that moment, they're the same. A sudden pressure radiates from him. She feels immense hidden power. Inori knows exile is coming, but he can handle the heat. Back in class, he plots. He's not leaving until he downloads every scrap of intel about this world. Cut to the training yard. He's drilling with the dagger again. He thinks, "I have to make this detection skill valuable." He needs to prove his worth. But the syllabus sucks. No real dungeon runs on the calendar yet. Workout done, he heads straight to Egiana's office. She welcomes him in, but keeps it real. "This is going to be rough." Inori nods. "Look, I know my combat stats are trash." Egiana agrees, but there's a twist. The head of knights looks him in the eye. She's not underestimating him one bit. She drops an offer, join the Order of Knights. She needs that radar of his for dungeon mapping and battlefield recon. She can't save a hero from politics. But if he drops the title and becomes her soldier, she owns him and protects him. It's his loophole to avoid banishment and take back control. Inori hesitates. Knights have way too many rules. Give me some time to chew on it. Egiana gets it, but leaves the door open. "Come back when you hit a dead end." He asks, "You mean exile, right?" She stares out the window, at the royal flag looking grim. "That's exactly what I mean." Fast forward a few days. Inori's back in the lecture hall. The rumor mill is buzzing. Heroes from the neighboring kingdom are incoming. Arya confirms the VIP meet and greet is tomorrow. Even the second princess is showing up. Classes are cancelled, but Inori's mailbox is empty. He wasn't invited, and he knows exactly why. Takafuji isn't stupid. He knows they're ghosting him. The next morning, the foreign delegation rolls in. The capital is popping off with parades and fanfare. Inori chills in his room, pondering the kingdom's budget. With all this spending, he gripes, "You'd think they could afford one more chair." The queen is probably sweating, trying to explain why she has 4 heroes instead of 3. An extra hero raises too many questions, but Inori hates sitting on the sidelines, while everyone else parties. All-seeing eye activate. He triggers his clairvoyance cheat. He snipes a visual right into the banquet hall. Boom, center stage, he spots both princesses. Inori clocks his teacher. She's dressed to kill today, but that smile, still fake as plastic. The tables are stacked with gourmet food, and he's instantly jealous. His mind drifts back to Nala's hypnosis tricks. The maid spills the tea. These over-the-top greetings are literally bankrupting the economy. But the queen, she's obsessed with flexing. Her wealth totally ignoring the king's panic about their empty vaults. Meanwhile, Inori locks eyes on those rival heroes from the neighboring nation crashing the banquet. There's a blonde guy chatting up Ryuto and his squad. Hero number 2 is a dark-haired girl, and the third guy looks like he hasn't slept in a week, total grunge aesthetic. But the blonde stands out with main character energy, looking nothing like the locals. His status window drops a name, Seigi. Suddenly, the blonde points a finger right at Ryuto and starts running his mouth. Inori zooms in with his right eye to lip read. The demand. Bring me Takafuji Inori. This guy is fuming and wants a 1 versus 1 duel right now. Post-party Arya drags Inori over to meet the angry blonde. Ryuto, Tamaki, and Aoi crowd into the room, trailing behind Seigi's crew. Takafuji hits them with his signature lazy stare. Seigi wastes 0 time. He challenges him to a throwdown immediately. The second princess stares at this weirdo like he's lost his mind. Inori's squad is just as shook by the outburst. The protagonist asks, "Bro, why do you want to fight me?" Seigi passionately screams that he needs to prove to the goddess that Inori is trash. The vampire is totally lost. But the blonde snaps, telling him to quit the act. He's certain Inori was in that white divine void too. That's where Seigi met the goddess and fell head over heels for her divine vibes and warm gaze. Inori's like, "Cool story, but why are we fighting?" Seiji grins. He actually proposed marriage to the goddess. Her answer, "Beat Takafuji Inori, and I'll think about it." Now it clicks for Inori. The goddess didn't want to reject him to his face, so she threw Inori under the bus. The protagonist makes a mental note to punch her in the face next time they meet. Ryuto and Tamaki are confused about this white space talk. Seems like Seigi's crew doesn't know the lore either. Inori realizes the other heroes must have been summoned differently. Sick of this fanboys drama, he decides to wrap this up. Takafuji says, "Fine, challenge accepted." Seigi looks hyped, ready to throw hands. Suddenly, Inori pauses. "Wait, what kind of duel?" He explains he's built like a scout with average stats, so a straight-up brawl isn't fair. Ryuto and the girls smirk, watching him finesse the situation. Inori drops the bait. "Unless you like bullying the weak, then sure, let's fight." That triggers Seigi. He snaps that he agrees to any terms. The room gasps at how fast he took the bait. Inori suggests a night training dungeon filled with mobs. The win condition: be the first to drop the floor boss. Seigi, overflowing with ego, agrees instantly. Ryuto whispers, "Bro, how are you going to defeat the boss?" The vampire just smirks. No need to panic. He has a scheme. Deal sealed for tomorrow. Cut to post-dungeon. Inori stands before the queen. She's furious. "Explain this mess," she demands. How does he explain getting absolutely crushed on his own terms? Takafuji admits Seiji was a beast. The guy blitzed through the monsters and found the boss instantly. His sword skills were way above Ryuto's level. He soloed the boss without a scratch. And Inori, he didn't even try to fight. He just used stealth to ghost past the monsters and the boss. A total loss. The queen says she previously ignored his laziness because the king vouched for his untapped potential. But embarrassing the nation is where she draws the line. The queen drops the hammer. Inori is banished from the kingdom. Arya and Idiana look crushed, but the young exile just gives a weak, knowing smile. He saw this coming. "Objection," he states calmly. Inori asks, "What damage to the reputation exactly?" The queen replies, "It's because of his defeat in the duel." Now the neighbors know about his shameful loss. Inori counters, "I lost, sure, but only my pride took a hit." The queen demands he explain himself. The young man breaks it down. Seigi just wanted to impress a girl. They agreed strictly to keep it on the down low, no press, no leaks. Plus, the public doesn't even know Inori is a hero. He's just a regular guy to them. So the kingdom's honor is safe. According to the vampire, the whole duel was a joke. But that doesn't mean he was just hiding. He just sat there, fingers interlaced, totally unbothered. The guards dragged in 2 massive sacks straight from the dungeon. Those bags were bursting with gold coins and gemstones. You should have seen the look on the queen and the first princess's faces, total shock. Gold spilled onto the floor, glittering in the light. Inori casually explained that while the blonde was busy cleaning up the dungeon, he snagged all the treasure from the first floor. The queen picked up a gold coin, a greedy little smile forming on her lips. Inori pointed out that this haul was only possible because of his detection skills. He'd planned this whole flex from the start, just so they could understand exactly what he brings to the table. Arya stared at him, eyes wide, realizing he'd played them perfectly. With the queen's stamp of approval secured, he waited for the sun to dip. Nightfall meant hunting time. He hit the forest, slaughtering demons left and right. He drained their blood using dark magic to power level. Moving like a ghost, he slipped into the shadows, cutting out the boring search time. But honestly, he was getting sick of snacking on weak demonic birds. Suddenly, his detection pinged. Something was out there, but it was blurry. Time to bring out the big guns, the all-seeing eye. He channeled its power to shatter illusions. Boom, a massive scarlet barrier appeared ahead, hiding a secret zone from the rest of the world. Standard detection got fooled, but his magic eye saw right through the glitch. Inside the energy field, Inori spotted creatures with glowing eyes. He stepped through the barrier, ready to bolt if things went south. The magical wolves instantly caught the scent of an intruder drenched in blood. Inori didn't flinch. He walked right into their turf. His danger sense screamed. A pack of white wolves charged straight at him, growls ripping through the air. He realized this was his first real brawl with a monster pack. Inori unleashed his black threads and went on the offensive. Seconds later, total massacre. He wiped them all out, taking only a single scratch to the cheek. The wolves lay bound and motionless. He drained every drop of their blood. Inori smirked. If he kept finding high-tier loot like this, he could finally ditch the bird diet. Pushing deeper past the barrier, he spotted something epic. A towering ancient tree sitting on a tiny island, smack in the middle of a pond. It was way too quiet. His gamer instincts started tingling. This is exactly when the boss music starts playing. And right on cue, a massive wolf launched a sneak attack from behind. No time to react. Rip. The monster tore his right arm clean off before slamming him with a heavy paw strike. The impact launched him like a ragdoll. Inori flew dozens of meters, screaming as he hit the ground. Shaking off the shock, he glared at the boss. It was Fenrir, a legendary magical wolf beast. He realized this wasn't just a demon, it was a high-tier magical beast. Sure, it managed to rip his arm off, but with that speed and strength, this guy is just a mini-boss. The real demon lords are going to be way tougher. Inori considered vanishing into the shadows, but knew the beast would just camp his spawn point. No escape. Fenrir didn't pause for a monologue. It rushed him at breakneck speed, unhinging its giant jaws, ready to swallow him whole. At the absolute last second, Inori dodged the death blow. His demonic wings sprouted, launching him into the air. He'd unlocked this flight ability back in the third world, when he turned vampire. They saved his life, but only because the wolf wasn't expecting an aerial counter. Fenrir snarled, asking why he breached the barrier. Inori wasn't fazed. Boss-level magical beasts always have dialogue lines. The vampire smirked and lied. "I'm just lost, bro." Fenrir wasn't buying it. "You don't just accidentally walk through a high-level illusion." Inori shrugged. "I saw a glitch in the Matrix and had to investigate." The wolf called him out as a murderer for slaughtering his kin and vowed revenge. Inori analyzed the situation and decided to stall for cooldowns. "Is this spot really that special to you?" Fenrir growled back. "You'll have eternity to think about it when you're dead." Then the wolf dropped some lore. They had sworn a blood pact with a witch. They were guarding this sanctuary to fulfill their duty to that legendary sorceress. And their job was to exterminate nosy demons like Inori. "Don't resist," the wolf advised, "and I'll make it quick. Unlike what I did to your arm." Fenrir froze. The vampire's arm had already grown back completely. Supernatural regeneration is a cheat code. The wolf admitted the kid was built different, but swore he wasn't leaving alive. Inori's right eye flashed, predicting the incoming strike. He banked hard to the side, trying to create some distance. He couldn't gain enough altitude yet. Fenrir scrambled up the rock face instantly, refusing to give him a second to breathe. Dozens of razor-sharp blue projectiles slammed into the vampire, tearing into his flesh. These things were punching holes through ancient trees like they were paper. Inori was knocked back, totally caught off guard. Fenrir was literally weaponizing his own fur, firing it like missiles at his target. But the wolf isn't giving him any runway. Fenrir clocks the vampire skimming the dirt and unleashes a barrage. Blue needles slam into the kid, grounding him instantly. His wings are shredded. Flight is officially off the table. Inori's trigger finger is itchy. Dark magic engage. Wooden stakes burst from the earth, homing in on the beast. Fenrir pulls a sick dodge, leaping clear. The vampire admits he prepped those traps for a worst-case scenario, but this boss fight is far from over, and the enemy is seriously overpowered. The massive wolf snarls, ready to rage until the bitter end. Fenrir stalks forward, scanning for more surprises. Inori knows the smart play is, to tactical retreat right now, but his left eye is still glitching with the hypnosis stamp. To switch skills, he needs a direct line of sight on the teleportation circle. He needs to stall, pull some aggro, and buy seconds to swap effects and bail. Inori yanks daggers from the shadows, long-range dark magic barrage incoming. He hurls knives at Mach speed, but the steel just pings off the White Wolf's hide like it's made of diamond. Our main character barely jukes a counterstrike. Inori keeps spamming dark daggers at the growling monster. Fenrir laughs off the weak DPS, taking 0 damage. Inori realizes he can't block everything. He just needs to guard the essentials, keep the heart pumping, and the legs moving. With a blur of motion, the White Wolf flanks Inori. The vampire whips out a black thread from his shadow inventory. He lashes the beast to the surrounding timber. The wire coils around Fenrir, freezing him in place. The wolf roars, struggling against the bind. But in a split second, the trees snap under his brute force. Fenrir shatters the black threads, mocking Inori's attempt. The vampire is actually won. Impressed by this monster's stats, now he's down to one last survival hack. He keeps dodging the wolf's swipes, parkouring through the forest. With a combo of rapid jumps, he vaults high above the canopy. The wolf growls that skyrunning is a dead end. The boss blasts the airborne Inori, who has no choice but to tank the hit. The vampire flares his eye of formations to hold the new circle steady. During the brawl, he wasn't just fighting, he was drawing. The threads he wove around the trees formed a massive teleport seal, only visible from the sky. Inori overwrites the glitchy save file in his formation's eye, and instantly boots up a summoning circle. The White Wolf realizes the vampire is trying to peace out. Inori totally planned to run, but mid-air, he decides to pull a pro-gamer move, teleporting directly behind the enemy, dual daggers out. He strikes, capitalizing on the jump scare. He aims for the soft spots, the eyes, knowing that fur is impenetrable. With surgical precision, he gouges out both of Fenrir's eyes. The beast howls, world going black. Inori quips. Couldn't leave without a parting gift. The blinded wolf goes berserk, smashing everything in range. Dodging is way easier now. The blind enemy is flailing, striking at nothing but air. But then the vampire freezes. Fenrir stops trashing the place and turns his snout dead on him. The beast can smell him. The wolf lunges, closing the gap for a kill shot. Inori barely dodges and decides the fun is over. He triggers the summoning circle and warps back to the castle. Fenrir screams into the void, promising to kill him the next time they cross paths. Back in his room, a battered Inori heals up, yanking needles out of his flesh. He's already plotting his revenge tour. The next day, the protagonist grinds harder than ever. First priority gear upgrade. Using shadow movement, he sneaks into the armory and loots some high-tier swords and daggers. He also snagged Fenrir's fur, those needles stuck in his body. The system lore says this wool hardens with magic. Inori grabs a few strands to test the theory, and sure enough, his dark magic turns them into steel spikes. That explains why the wolf was such a tank. Daggers couldn't scratch him. The protagonist decides to craft a weapon from the boss drop. He spins the wool into a super durable black thread. The system names it Gleipnir, just like the mythical chain that bound the wolf. The thread crystallizes instantly when mana hits it. It's unbreakable. Inori smirks at the irony in the myths. It was Gleipnir that defeated Fenrir. Next up on the crafting list, armor. He fashions black gloves that turn to armor plating when powered up. After a little trial and error, the vampire etches a hypnosis circle onto the palm, visible only when the glove hardens. Combat ready. Inori crafts some sick black combat boots and decks himself out in a sharp suit, crimson shirt, black tie. Drip upgraded. He layers on magical armor to tank the heavy hits. Now it is time to slide back to the forest and settle the score with that white wolf lurking on the capital's outskirts. A portal rips open, flooding the clearing with light. Fenrir senses a massive power spike nearby as Takafuji Inori steps out of the summoning circle, rocking his fresh gear. The vampire greets the beast with a smirk, sarcastically noting it has been way too long. Fenrir unleashes a furious roar, shocked this demon has the guts to show his face after getting clapped last time. Inori throws shade, mocking the blind wolf's beautiful eyes. Triggered, the beast launches into a frenzy, swiping down with a massive claw. The MC is actually shook by how precise that hit was. Pretty sharp aim for a blind monster. Fenrir vows he will not let this evil spawn slip away again, not after invading his turf for the second time. Inori finds it hilarious. The wolf is more salty about the intrusion than losing his eyesight. Still, he has got to give props to the beast's unwavering loyalty to this place. The beast charges again, aiming for the kill. The vampire counters, popping open the shadow vault and summoning the fallen wolves now resurrected as his personal ghouls. Fenrir skids to a halt, confused about where these new enemies spawned from. He sniffs the air familiar scents, then he feels the fangs of his old squad tearing into his hide. Inori knows the beast, realizes the horror he is being jumped by the very kin he swore to protect. But now they are just mindless puppets. The white wolf growls in pure rage, demanding to know what the vampire did to them. Inori shrugs, saying he just killed them and turned them into obedient dogs. Fenrir snaps, scattering the undead pack with one move. Inori tries to weave past the next attack, but the claw connects, slamming into his new armor. The vampire notes the gear won't nullify the damage, but it definitely buffs his defense. Fenrir lands a heavy paw right to Inori's ribs, but the magical jacket holds strong. The beast keeps spamming, crushing blows, giving the demon zero room to breathe. Ghouls swarm from the trees, trying to draw aggro. After a brutal combo, Takafuji gets ragdolled into a tree trunk, but hey, all limbs still attached this time. Fenrir roars a promise of vengeance for his brothers and rushes Inori. The vampire just smirks and triggers a yellow summoning circle, teleporting milliseconds before Fenrir's jaws can snap shut. The wolf thinks his enemy fled again, but Inori materializes in midair above him, hovering just out of reach. Fenrir launches off the ground, aiming to snatch him out of the sky with a fatal bite. The vampire holds his ground, declaring he is done running. Mid-leap, the wolf spots something thin threads, barely visible against the night sky. Fenrir tries to snap them like before, but these wires way stronger. To max out the tension, Inori anchored them to trees and posted ghouls to guard the rigging. The MC stands casually on a thread, eyes glowing as he activates both magic eyes. Fenrir crashes back to the earth, struggling to figure out why the vampire's web is suddenly unbreakable. Inori drops the truth bomb. Those threads are spun from the wolf's own fur, harvested after their last fight. The vampire seizes control of Gleipnir with dark magic, prepping the finisher. The super durable threads wrap around the stunned wolf from every angle. A split second later, Fenrir is slammed to the dirt, completely immobilized. He struggles with everything he has got, but the Gleipnir bonds are indestructible. Inori points out the beast never saw the trap coming, because the threads were made of his own fur, perfect camouflage. The vampire was baiting him the entire match. He tanked those hits on purpose to keep the wolf's eyes off the sky. Then, at the critical moment, Inori sidestepped, leaving the enemy tangled in the web. The MC wishes the wolf luck. In the afterlife, Takafuji yanks the Gleipnir, tightening the noose around the white wolf's neck. Fenrir glances at his fallen brothers. He admits the vampire earned this win, but at least his oath to the witch is finally over, and the eternal debt is paid. Under the full moon's glow, Inori ends the magical beast's life. The demon vampire drains the defeated enemy, thirsty for power. Absorbing a boss-level opponent pays off big time. He instantly jumps 5 levels. Plus, he unlocks new abilities, including a skill called King's Vessel. Inori tries to check the stats on the skill when he hears a voice. The dead wolves. They are talking. They are speaking directly to him. The MC realizes this is the King's Vessel perk. He can communicate with his subjects. The wolf familiar begs Inori to turn the dead Fenrir into a ghoul. The pack awaits. The pack howls in mourning, honoring the alpha who held the line against every threat for decades. Death doesn't have to be the end. Inori vows to drag their guardian back from the void. He's not done protecting them yet. Morality isn't the issue here, firepower is. But the adrenaline crash hits Inori like a truck. The battle took everything out of him. He's desperate to crash, but duty calls. Fast forward a bit, and he's dragging himself to the hero Ryuto's quarters for a feast. But this isn't just a meal, it's a strategy meeting. The topic: the toxic beef between the two royal sisters. Tamaki doesn't hold back, guessing the second princess is just an antisocial ice queen. Aoi nods along, co-signing the theory. Why the bad blood? Inori just stares at his plate, stabbing a fork into a garlic butter steak, looking completely checked out. Then Ryuto drops the bomb. Inori is the key to fixing this royal mess. Our guy blinks, totally confused, since when is he a marriage counselor? He gestures to Tamaki and Aoi. Shouldn't the girls handle the emotional stuff? They speak the language better than he does. Ryuto shakes his head. Inori's got the inside track. He's literally the only one the second princess tolerates during their theory lessons. That leaves one move: corner the first princess and broker a peace treaty between the siblings. Inori's skeptical. Isn't she totally full of herself? Ryuto just flashes that hero smile. He's already set the stage. Turns out Princess Amanda is obsessed with our golden boy Ryuto, and he knows it. He practically brags about it, making Tamaki and Aoi gag in the background. They roast him for his ego, but Ryuto ignores the shade. He slides a bribe across the table, a 7-day vacation from lectures. Inori takes the deal instantly. Cut to the royal quarters. Inori knocks and Amanda's voice drifts through the wood, granting him an audience. Time to kiss the ring. Inori steps inside the heavy door, clicking shut behind him. No backing out now. His eyes scan the room. It's screaming wealth. Gold velvet, rare artifacts everywhere. But it's a chaotic mess of styles. Amanda catches him, staring mistakes, his confusion for awe, and smirks like she owns the world. Inori points to a weird bird-shaped candlestick. You actually like that? She brushes it off. It's just expensive loot from her mom and foreign diplomats. Not worth the fight. Inori pivots, dropping the real question. What's the deal with you and your sister? She flinches, looking away. I don't care about her. Inori sighs internally. Dealing with a textbook, tsundere is going to be a nightmare. Then Ryuto's words echo in her head. She knows exactly why Inori is here. He's playing peacemaker. Her fingers twist nervously into her hair. It's not like I want to fix things, she mutters, totally unconvincing. Inori presses harder. Do you want a truce or not? She snaps, practically ripping her hair out, screaming that it's none of his business. This is going nowhere fast. Time to play the ace up his sleeve. Shame, he shrugs. This was Ryuto's big dream. But if you're not into it, I guess I'll tell him you passed. He adds that Ryuto will be crushed. Panic mode activated. Amanda blocks his exit, begging him to stay so she can explain. Hook, line, and sinker. Inori grabs a chair as the first princess finally spills the tea on her tragic backstory. It wasn't always ice cold. She whispers about the old days back when they were inseparable, glued at the hip, and genuinely happy. Arya was the prodigy, the big sister who actually cared, teaching Amanda her first magic spells. Little Amanda was her shadow, worshipping the ground Arya walked on. But then, the reality check hit. At 7 years old, Amanda got the crown title. That's when the bomb dropped. Arya wasn't her mother's child. Half-sisters, different mothers. The innocents died that day, and Amanda has been isolated at the top ever since. The flashback ends. Inori doesn't interrupt, letting the silence hang there until she speaks again. She grinded for years to be the perfect queen, but deep down, she realized her rival was actually the best teacher and friend she ever had. She started fantasizing about fixing the bridge, about being sisters again. But the royal court shut it down. The adults wouldn't let the heir mix with the spare. Amanda turns away, the confession over. She stares at the wall, defeated. Suddenly, it clicks for Inori. The arrogance, the attitude, it's all a defense mechanism. That clutter in her room. It proves she has no taste of her own. She's a doll manufactured by people who just wanted a perfect queen. Without the title, she's nothing. So she clings to the princess role for dear life because it's the only identity she has left. Amanda snaps at him to say something. Inori smirks, teasing that maybe some of that bratty attitude is actually natural. Then he gets real. Just walk up to her. Say hi. Start there. I can't, she panics. The servants, the court, they'd never approve. Inori raises an eyebrow. Since when does a queen ask permission from the help? He hits her with the hard truth. You don't follow their rules. They follow yours. Be the alpha. Amanda freezes, biting her lip. She's terrified of becoming a burden to Arya. But Takafuji cuts through the tension, dropping a truth bomb. The second princess isn't some delicate flower. She's way tougher than she looks. That hits home. Flushing a deep shade of red, Amanda squares her shoulders and declares with full confidence, I got this. I can handle it solo. Realizing his job here is done, Inori throws up a casual peace sign and dips out of the room. Later on, he tracks down Nala, the maid, and spills every juicy detail of the conversation. Loyal to the core, the maid swears she'll pass the intel directly to the second princess herself. But Inori catches a vibe. Nala's face twitches just enough to show she is definitely not thrilled with his whole let's all get along plan. The next morning hits, and he's finally fully recharged from that insane brawl with Fenrir. Before he can even stretch, Nala slides in with a message straight from Arya. Takafuji lets out a massive yawn, flashing those sharp fangs, and grumbles. What's the move? Nala smirks, hinting that today's lesson is going to be unique. That smirk triggers every alarm bell in Inori's head. Yeah, something shady is definitely going down. Cut to a few hours later, he's drowning in the noise of the capital's busiest street, playing escort to Arya and Nala on a city stroll. The vampire looks around, totally confused, and asks, seriously, what am I supposed to learn out here on the pavement? The princess puts on her serious face, talking about analyzing market trends and gauging public sentiment. Translation: he's dragging their bags on a shopping spree. She claims it's a critical lesson in understanding elite taste, but it sounds a lot like an excuse to ball out. First, stop a flashy jewelry store. Watching her eyes light up, Inori flashes back to when she admitted she's never actually treated herself to anything.